This is Sports Daily, new show here on Sports Net America. I'm Mike Curci, former professional basketball star Tim Bassett alongside, and we'll be talking about different subjects along the way each and every weekday here on Sports Net America. Let's start off, first of all, with a look at the situation with the New York Jets. Now, it's not just a local story, Tim. It's a national story. It's the Brett Favre deal. It's Woody Johnson, the owner, who definitely wants him back. It's everyone talking about, is it because of the PSL licenses that they wanted to sell to get the fans in the seats with the new stadium? Is he good for the team? Those are all things that are being thrown out there. And then you have a guy like Bill Cowher, who would be perfect for this organization, who's been sitting on the sidelines. I think he's chomping at the bit to get back into it in the right situation, basically saying, I don't want any part of this.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, Mike, but we just heard recently, maybe even as late as last night, Bill Cowher has decided not to do any coaching at all next year. So he's taken himself out of the mix. But the Favre thing in itself is very interesting to me because they went through this entire process to bring him in. And they had him here for a season. They knew what they were getting when they got Brett Favre. I mean, 22 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. He didn't have a great year, but he is, he's an elder statesman of the game. But he brings credibility to the franchise. What bothered me about that was to hear some of his teammates say the things that they said. And even if you felt those kind of things, Mike, that's something that should stay in the locker room. And, how do you talk about a Hall of Famer? This guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer. It brings credibility to your team to have him here. And I understand that his teammates saying if he's coming back, he needs to come to training camp, he needs to come to all the practices, do everything that that all the other teammates do. But I still think that those kinds of things are hurtful to the team.
Well, you're talking about Thomas Jones, leading rusher on this team, and one of the leaders on the team, quiet guy, as a matter of fact, in the locker room, yet he's coming out and saying, basically Favre cost us the season because of the 22 interceptions, the bad play in the last 5 games of the season. And, you've been in the locker room, you've been a part of championship teams. That stuff shouldn't come out. Did it come out back in the days that you played, and how different is it now, Timmy?
I can't imagine any of my teammates ever saying something like that about Dr. J. I mean, Dr. J had some bad games in his career. I mean, everybody does. But he's the guy, he's the meal ticket that got you there. And I didn't hear any of these comments when the Jets were in first place, won 5 in a row, looking like, one of the class teams of the league. Everybody was happy. And unfortunately, it's not just Brett Favre that went down the tube. Some of the other teammates went down as well. And I think, you win as a team and you lose as a team. You can't put all the blame on Brett Favre and say that, okay, because he didn't play well in the last 6, 7 games of the year, that it was Brett Favre's fault. Not even a possibility can you say that.
Everybody was happy when they were 8-3. Everybody was happy at the beginning of the season when they decided to let Pennington go and bring Favre in. Listen, it was 80-90% of the Jets fans who were now turning around and saying, we don't want this guy. This was a bad idea from the beginning. Well, you know what? You wanted them at the beginning. Everybody was happy when they were talking Jets-Giants Super Bowl not too long ago. So, you know what? If you're a fan, you got to stick up to what you believed in when you first started, when everybody was jumping on that bandwagon, and boy, when the wheels fall off, everybody's jumping off.
Well, something, Mike, the other side of that story is everybody ran Chad Pennington out of town. So he goes and turns around a 1-15 team, brings them to the playoffs, and knocks the Jets out, essentially. This guy comes back and puts the fork in it, so to speak, for the Jets, and that just killed many, many Jet fans. I can't believe that Chad Pennington came back here and did this to the Jets and Brett Favre. So, you had a double-edged sword there, and you were hoping that when Miami came in here that at least, even if the Jets didn't make the playoffs, they would still knock Miami off, and that would end the Chad Pennington story, but obviously it did not.
Now, Tim, if the big guys are out of the picture, say Shanahan doesn't get in the picture now that he's out at Denver, he's maybe taking a year off, maybe he'll go to Dallas, who knows what's going on there. Wade Phillips still a coach down at Dallas as we speak. You have, of course, the situation with the Jets. You have Steve Spagnuolo, and he had an interview over the weekend. He's had several interviews from all reports. It wasn't the most impressive of interviews. The insiders saying he should have become a little bit more prepared. Well, you know what? He's still got a team that he's got to coach here. He still had 3 other interviews before this interview. Maybe you cut the guy some slack. He is hot, but I think if Favre's coming back, you need the young coach now, someone who I don't want to say Brett can can handle, but they have to get along. And Tannenbaum's not going anywhere. So you see Favre coming back in this situation here. I think, at this point, why not give him a shot? Who are the guys behind him? I mean, is it Clemens? Is it Ratliff? I don't know.
The Brett Favre situation, I would have said, yes, he was coming back right after the season prior to hearing some of these comments. And, of course, you want to find out what's going on with his shoulder and if he is going to be healthy enough to actually make a comeback and play again next year. I would want Brett Favre on my team. I just want his history. I want his character. I want his ability, his leadership. And the Jets, on the other hand, in hiring a coach, they've had the tendency in the past to hire coaches that, like with Eric Mangini, was a young coach that did not have a whole lot of authority in the front office. Although he was really hard in the way he ran the team, he did not have a whole lot of authority, so to speak, in making a lot of the decisions. And so you got to have a coach that not only can do that, but also has the respect of a Brett Favre and the other veteran players on the team.
Final question for this segment. Did Mangini get the short end of the stick here?
No question about it. This game, and in any sport, you need time for teams to develop. He had 1 year with Brett Favre, just an opportunity to see who Brett Favre is and see him on a daily basis. And then he should have had this offseason to plan what he was going to do with Brett Favre. How am I going to use him next year? Am I going to try to, make Brett Favre stay with the short passing game? Or am I going to give him the ability to be the cowboy that he always is? And I know he's going to throw these long bombs every now and then. And how am I going to live with that? What kind of running game am I going to have? How am I going to complement Brett Favre? And these are things he would have learned over the season this year watching Brett Favre with this Jets team, and he could have made some decisions that would help that team next year.
You've been watching Sports Daily here on Sports Net America. Mike Curci, Tim Bassett. We'll see you again soon.